Shop smart, shop S-Mart.
Well, that was interesting. You and I both just watched the intro on here, but it did not play on YouTube.
Oh, weird.
We're gonna run a little experiment here and see if this works. Hang on a second. All right, that's what it was supposed to do.
Yeah.
Welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to another episode. Well, actually, this is only the second episode of Killer Closeout. I haven't done a whole lot of these, but welcome to DMH's Killer Closeout, featuring Mad Ruth, and we talking soul tech. What's going on, Mad Ruth? How you?
I'm doing fantastic. It's actually great to do this closeout with you. I don't know if people out there realize that you're the first person I reached out to in Comixgate, and the very first person I streamed with, very first person to give me a wrench. So it's appropriate to be here.
Oh hell yeah, dude! I mean, we've been friends in this scene for a while now, you know. And I know that you were just you were a name in the chat for a while, and you reached out and you're like, hey, I'm working on this, and I was like, shit, dude, that sounds awesome, and you just kept working on it, and here you are, man. You got the book out there, you got the campaign going, getting ready to close out. Now, I guess the first question everybody's going to ask is, are you going in demand?
Yeah, I selected in demand, and so far, like YouTube did put me in that promotion in that last 72 hours, but I was worried about the same thing they do with everyone else, where they shadow ban them the last 2 days, and then they did Frog G where it didn't. But it looks like those issues have resolved. So
that's awesome. That is fantastic. I'm glad to hear that. Go ahead and say hello to the chat. What's up, Mad Ruth? You are in the chat and here. Excellent. What's up, D-Wag? Bow, sir. Bow. What's up, Flying Feline? Skull, beautiful. Thank you for being here. She says you are live. Yes, I opened up YouTube just in time to see me, jamming out to the music and watching me jam out to the music on YouTube over here. And I was just like, wait a minute, that's not how this works. It's not how this is supposed to work anyway. So that was weird. I'll have to watch my timings on videos.
Yeah.
This is why you keep a YouTube window open, so you can see what the viewers are actually seeing. What's going on, Steve Dye? Good to see you, man. Thanks for coming to hang out, dude. So, man, how's it feel to be wrapping up your first campaign?
Yeah, it's a lot more grueling of a process than I thought it was. I mean, as I've been saying repeatedly, I didn't do a lot of planning, and it kind of shows. But I put 100% of my effort into the comic book, and I was just like, I'll just wing the YouTube piece. That's not a recipe for success. Definitely the big. Yeah, I mean, I got here. I'm still here, but definitely, you have to put as much care and attention into the promotion and the YouTube piece as you do into creating a comic. You can't do 100% comic and 0 in promotion, because then you end up like in this just black hole of help me,
Well, I mean, it helps to put something out there that draws people in. You gotta set the hook with the bait. You gotta bait. Yeah. Get the eyes on it, get people paying attention to it, and sometimes that takes a little creative promotion. You get the idea of the story across as much as possible without giving anything away. That's the trick. To me, that's why a lot of movie trailers, I feel like they give too much away, but they almost have to in order to get people in the door to go see the film. It's like, this is going to happen, so you're just going to the film to see how it happens. You know, we don't really get those, I don't know, twists in the film anymore. You know, the twist is why you're going to go see it. You know.
But one of the positives about having my book pretty much finished was I was able to put a lot of the great artwork up on my stuff as well as on my
buddy.
campaign. Everyone loved the lettered pages being in my campaign, so that was definitely a plus.
Oh yeah, because it gives a sample of the story. You know, you actually get to look at the book as it will be, you know, as it will be presented. You know, having just artwork is great because you can do a little bit of the storytelling with the you know, you can read some of it, you know, with the artwork. That's what it's supposed to do. That's what the artwork's supposed to do. It's the vehicle for the story. But at the same time, you get all that extra context with, you know, the words, you know, the word balloons. You know, it for lack of a better term, it feels like a comic book because you're actually reading the book, you know, and it's a good sample for people to, you know. I mean, it's like that's the reason why they give you cookies at the grocery store. You know, oh, here's a free sample. They're hoping that the cookie's good enough that you go buy a whole box of the motherfuckers. You know?
Yeah, the little bites.
I mean, first hit's free.
Steve Dye had a good point up there. His pages look great, artwork looks super, but yeah, lettered pages.
Lettered pages for the win. Yeah, let people see the full product. One of the things they do in video games is when they're creating a concept and they're pitching it to a publisher, is they'll do a vertical slice of the game, what they call a vertical slice. So you see everything that they have as an idea for, you know, this game, just in this one chunk of the game. The whole thing's like, you know, done up to a certain level of polish. The mechanics are polished up to a certain level so that the publisher can get an idea of what the overarching game will be. You know, and I feel like when you put, you know, full pages up there with the colors, the inks, you know, the lettering, the full shebang, you know, that's a vertical slice that people can see of the book, and that's what you should go for. It gives people an idea of what they're going to get with the rest of the book, and they can expect the same quality across the board. You know.
But yeah, that's.
What's up, Belmont? Good to see you, Justin. Thanks for coming to hang out, dude. Appreciate you being here.
Yeah, that's definitely one of the key takeaways. And I mean, I get it with you don't want to do the lettering until the very, very end because it gives you all the times you can to refine the script. But there's certain pages in there you do know that the lettering is not going to change that much. So, balancing act.
I mean, again, the balancing act. But getting the tasty bits that are going to hook the audience to come in and go on this adventure, but at the same time not spoil that adventure. You know, not give too much away. It's a fine line to walk, man. You know, you got to give them enough so that they're interested. You got to pique their interest, but you know, you can't give it all away.
Yeah, you know? But definitely another big takeaway I would say was like having a plan for the campaign. I mean, a campaign is a campaign for a reason. Like any other campaign, you should have that thing planned out. What you plan on doing on each of the different days, having the shows prearranged and all that.
Right.
I mean, you do deal with a bit of a juggling. Like I had a couple shows that canceled and reran. I mean, you just got to deal with that stuff. But same thing. What am I going to do for filler in there? Stuff that you want to put up for promotion. Like I was doing a bit of scrambling there. I tried the countdown that Joe Sontag did with Reaper Destroyer, but I don't really think that had any effect. I don't think people were just kind of like, okay, whatever, you know what I mean? Because again, the hoopla and the excitement for it wasn't really there. I just came out of nowhere with the countdown, right? So
that. Yeah, you gotta count down to the countdown. You know, you gotta build up to the countdown, and see that's that's one of the things you learn about promotion. I mean, for instance, Saturday I did a sing along of Doom. And I gave away, you know, four complete decks of the Death of Superman cards.
I tried my hand a couple times. I was there.
Yeah, no, I know. I saw you in there, and I appreciate everybody that showed up. It was a great show. But you know, if I had planned that ahead a little bit better, you know, maybe I could have had, you know, more people, you know, tuning in at that time. Maybe I could have used it to get some more subscribers. But just as far as like a first go as giving away things and doing that as a thing on the show, it went pretty well, you know. So, but you know, that's the whole thing about this YouTube thing is that you learn as you go along. You know, take advice where you can find it. Take what, you know, people have learned from other people's mistakes. You know. But the same can be true about the crowdfunding. You know, the document that Rob put together. Replicator Rob had a crowdfunded comic. I mean, it's a fantastic resource for everyone, and everyone should read that. And keep a printed copy of it so you can refer back to it. Add things to it that you see. Your own personal copy, and then share the information with other people. That's how we all improve. Honest discourse and constructive criticism, and sharing knowledge. That's how we all get better. That's how we make this the best damn indie comic scene on the fucking planet.
I don't know if you were tracking small. I skipped the 30-30 and I just went with a straight 60. And I wouldn't suggest doing that. Definitely, I should have broke it up to the 30-30. People don't realize that I thought I was under the impression people just do it to build that, my campaign's coming to a wrap up, and I'm running out of days. But it has more to do with Indiegogo, because they throw an extra bit of promotion when it comes in that 30-day, because as far as they know, that's it. You're coming to 30. Yeah. So they'll throw that extra push out onto the Indiegogo algorithm. And it's just a matter of you, if you're really worried about it a day or so before, you just re-click over for the next 30.
Right. Think about it like this. It's kind of like two, smaller hops as opposed to one big hop, Yeah. And so there's more opportunity for, Yeah. Yeah, it's not as much of a gap between. There's a smaller gap, so it keeps attention. I can see that.
Yep. Yeah, I got to the first 30, and then there was just a window of weeks. Then I was like, I've got what am I going to do? And time just sort of ticked away. So that ties into the planning, and like I said, so definitely the 30-30 is a must. So, did I mention mailing?
Sorry.
List? Did I talk about mailing list yet? I didn't have a
mailing
list.
No, not yet. Yeah. Did you do a mailing list for the first campaign?
No, I should have. I remember people used to say don't bother with the mailing list for the first campaign, but you see now, like for example, Michael Bancroft's had the mailing list going for Lucent for how long, right? Like he's just growing those that hype, growing that list he's got, growing those people that are interested, and again, those people will come around and they will know when the book is launching, and that's another missed opportunity. So.
Look at what Jason Inkspots and Frog G did on with Frog G. They put that character out there, and they were just building the hype well before they put the sign up out there, and then they put the sign up out there, and they got a shit ton of people signing up.
Yeah, they knocked that one out of the park.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and they took this little spark of interest, right, and. They kind of built on it, kind of fed it, a little more artwork, and they stoked those excitement flames to, what we have. I mean, that's the essence of crowdfunding. That's what we do. You find your audience and they react to something, you build upon it. What's up, Jay Ryan? Good to see you. Thanks for coming to hang out. Appreciate you being here. So, go ahead.
That's pretty much it in a nutshell. It's just the fact that I skipped that whole entire promotion piece, and I just came out of nowhere. No one even knew I was coming, and boop, a campaign pops up out of nowhere. Right? That's Don't do that.
Well, I mean, and like we said, you've learned from that. And you're gonna probably do something different on the next one. I mean, at least have a sign up, right, with a maybe a card or a poster or something like that,
For sure.
But you have this book mostly done, right?
Yep. Yeah. We're just at the last. We're at the last 18 pages to color, and then both are done. I'm waiting for my printer to give me the template for the front cover, because my pre-press, he wants the template from the printer so he can adhere to theirs. Those are really the last two big stages that we just go to put the two books together. So. We're there.
Okay, well, see, being that you have this book pretty much all the way done, launching the way you did probably did not hinder you as much as it could have.
Right.
So it's a good thing that you had so much of the book done and ready to go, and that you've been working on it for so long. Mm-hmm. But I mean, now that you're out and on your second campaign, you're going to have the added bonus of you have fulfilled. A campaign, you know what I mean?
Yep.
And that goes a long way with people. That's part of the reason why I do what's in the box, so that people can see, hey, this creator has fulfilled. They have, fulfilled a campaign. You can see the quality of it. It's not just smoke and mirrors. It's not just a picture on the internet. I literally have this in my hands here. You can see me flip through it. You can see the condition that it arrives in. Because these are all important points, because these are fucking collectibles, man. They're stories that people are reading and enjoying, but they're also going into the collection. They're first print runs,
right?
And that's part of our ecosystem, man. And I will say this: I appreciate the variant covers that people do, because there's not an obscene amount of them.
Mm-hmm.
Coming from working in a comic shop, seeing 25 variants to what was it, Batman 1000 or Detective Comics 1000, that gets a little obnoxious.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, this kind of stuff I love. Genuine variation and added value.
Yeah. Well, they're two completely different books, in my opinion, really. Although it's the same liner, just the feel of reading a liner black and white and red version versus a color version. So.
Well, see, and you and I were having this discussion backstage, I think, last time, or maybe it was in a DM. I feel like the black and white version kind of has a very European feel to it.
Yes. I
mean, his line work already has that feel to it. I dig it. But the black and white really emphasizes that, and I think it's a beautiful looking book, man.
Yeah.
And that's not knocking your colorist at all, because your colorist is absolutely badass. They do a tremendous job. I mean, look at this.
Yeah, but some of that work does get lost in the colors for sure. Yeah.
What's up, Jason? Thank you, man. I appreciate that. Jason is actually having people on to talk about their book. He's doing promo streams as well. So
nice.
Maybe hit a boy up and see if he got a place.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I just started playing with live even the other day. I fired up a live stream and just was monkeying around with the stream.
That's literally where the Sing Along of Doom came from. I was out in my garage just practicing. For like a year or so, just getting used to seeing myself on camera. And one day I was just like, you know what? Fuck it. And I did a fucking live stream, and that was the first Sing Along of Doom. And here we are, 2 years later. Over 2 years later. Shit.
I don't know if I was there for the first.
Steve Dye and all this went on. Unhinged is a fun show. Recommend.
Yeah.
Definitely.
Nice. Yeah.
I mean, there's a reason why I do topic lists with the guy. By the way, tomorrow night, 9:15, Jason's channel.
Nice.
Yeah. Topic lists. Also going for over 2 years.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's crazy how time flies, eh?
It really is. Especially when you just having fun and working on something. Let's go ahead and run your trailer so people have an idea what we talking about. Beautiful artwork, man. Seriously, this is a good looking book.
Thank you.
Seriously, dude, I know how much work you put into this, and I remember when you first told me about this, like, it feels like forever ago, but it was only like a couple years ago.
Yep.
Awesome to see, man. Closing out the first campaign. And when are you planning on fulfilling?
So I've already pretty much told everyone I'm aiming for March 2023. So it's fast and furious. It's ending now. It'll go in demand over Christmas. And like I said, I'm just waiting for those last 18 pages to be colored, and then away we go.
So I mean, while it is in demand. Holy shit! I don't know why that was so hard to say. During Christmas, while it's in demand, you could literally get this as a Christmas gift that will show up later. Let people. I mean, listen. I actually bought a few books. I backed a few books a couple years ago as Christmas gifts, and a couple of them have showed up. A couple of them haven't, but that's all right. I know they will.
Yeah.
I know they will.
Yeah, I've done that myself. So, or as a Christmas present to myself, you know.
Yeah. Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. All right, so Soul Tag, both books, you will receive one copy of Soul Tag Destiny Volume 1, the regular edition, 48 pages, and then the Blood and Ink Volume 1. You want to tell people what that is for those that are not sure? I mean, the name kind of says what it is, but go ahead and tell people.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. So they're both the same liner. They have 92 interior pages. That's something else I had a lot of confusion between that 48 and 92. Just say 92 interior. Just say 92 interior. Leave it at that.
What's up, Lorenzo?
But so the color version is obviously it's all the liner, the lettering, and in all color, done. The way that I like to receive most of my books. But I've been noticing a lot of artists are fans of liner, as I am as well. I like a couple of things. For example, Frank Miller 300. Everything. The Spirit. Doing it with the red, the red and the liner. I think actually the Diaz brothers actually do it a couple times in Lost Pages as well, where they've got the black and red going on. I just love it, right? I think it's really cool. So
it's an aesthetic. Yeah.
Yeah. So in addition, because like you said, the line art is more grittier, we went in and added extra blood and extra blood effects. So in the color version, a punch might have just a little dribble of blood. You go to line art, it's a full on splatter. Maybe even the knuckles are getting a little. So
yeah.
It's a lot.
Everybody's just like bleeding everywhere. Nice.
Yeah. So you can essentially read the book a second time and get a totally different feel for it with the blood and ink version.
Hell yeah. Steve Dye says 5 years of CG seems like maybe 15. So I don't know about time flying. Soul Tag is impressive. And spot color is cool. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Using color to tell the story. I mean, you get that bright red. It's emphasis. I mean, that's why Frank Miller did that Yellow Bastard in Sin City.
Yep.
One of my favorite fucking Sin City stories, though. Yeah.
Yellow Bastard.
Great story. But yeah, that's that's spot color, man. You know, grabs the eye. And so that's what you'll get with the blood and ink.
Yep.
And then the half issue ash can. Yep.
That's just something I did for the copyright. So that's actually the very, very first thing I did for my book was I spent basically March 2020 all the way through till December writing the script and then just cementing what each of the characters would look like. And you'd be surprised how much time that took just going back and forth with those character designs. And then I had a box of pencil crayons. I did the first colors for all the color designs, and then I gave that to the colorist to color up the liner. So, I'm old school artist, and I don't have any concept of transitioning to digital. But I've got Photoshop now, though, so I just got.
I mean, you know what? The next phone you get, make sure you get a phone with like a stylus on it, and that way you can digitally doodle. And I've got a Note 8 that I've been using for fucking ever, and my cover that I just did, I did the initial sketch of that on my phone, then sent it to myself, and then opened it in Photoshop, and then finished the pencils out digitally. So I mean, it helps with the workflow, man. Being able to draw anything anywhere.
We talked backstage about your cover, but we haven't talked about it here yet. I don't know if you're saving that or not.
Oh, I mean, I've shown it all over YouTube. I mean, we're not here to talk about my book, man. We're here to talk about your book.
But still, it's a big achievement. Like, congratulations.
Well, I appreciate that, man. Thank you. But yeah, this is my cover for Hardly Heroes #7, my variant. I actually went and signed a bunch of these yesterday for Shattermare. This is a company to keep an eye on. This is their first book. And they came into the comic shop talking to me, and they're like, "Hey, we're gonna do this book," and I pointed them in some direction, told them to check out a few things, and right after the pandemic, they came in and like, "Hey, we got this book, and we're putting it out like crowdfunding," and so they hired me to do a variant cover for them. So there's this version, there's the variant, virgin variant, and then there's the naughty, the spicy virgin variant. So yeah,
Nice. That's awesome.
but yeah, that's a company to keep an eye on.
It's just cool to finally have printed art, you know.
Yeah,
That's
dude. That was like when he brought out the books for me to sign. It was the first time I had actually, seen it in print, and I was just like, wow, holy shit, there it is.
Real.
Thank you, Feline. I appreciate that. Hey, what's up, Frog G? Thank you very much for being here, man. Dropping links.
Yeah, thank you.
Let's see. What? There was a reason why I brought up my cover, and I totally derailed myself.
Oh, sorry about that.
It's all right. It was all right. There was a reason why I was going to bring it up. And anyway, let's go back to the ash can. So you spent a good amount of time getting that set up and ready to rock and roll.
Right.
Look, you know what? Tell people how long this has been cooking in your head for those that may not have seen the first show that we did.
Okay, so going all the way back to 2005 actually is when Revenge of the Sith came out in theaters, and George Lucas did the whole that's the last Star Wars movie I'm ever going to do, so that's it, it's done. And I mean, being a Star Wars fan my entire life, right? I mean, that's my be all end all of all franchises. I thought then, I was like, well, what's going to happen if there's not going to be any more Star Wars movies? So I saw right then and there that there was a gap in science fiction, and I realized somebody can come in and just create an entire new universe very similar. So right then was when I started cooking the idea, and I was already in the military at the time. And people don't know, in the military, it's a whole lot of sit around and waiting. Like, you're sitting in a hole, staring
Hurry
at
up and wait.
2 hours, waiting for a bus for 6 hours, like you have nothing but time on your hands and your own thoughts to keep you company, right? So my exercise for doing that started with just imagining where humanity would be in 6,000 years. And that was the underlying principle, is tying into everything I know about humans and civilization in the past, how history repeats itself, incorporating that into where I think humankind would be in 6,000 years. So I'm not a big light speed and space travel type person, because I know how when you're traveling at the speed of light, time stops, right? It's all relative. And I keep saying, like, if people were traveling, 80 years out, they come back, everyone's gone. 200 years has gone by. Like, you're meeting entirely new human beings. So I kind of limited human beings to the solar system, because I thought that was a more
well, I mean, that's kind of what it's kind of what was it The Expanse did. They kind of limited us to and I mean, that's legit. Traveling, if you're traveling at light speed, I mean, not going to get there and back and still, still be at the same spot in time on the planet. Yeah.
So
time is stopped for you, but not back there.
Correct.
Yeah.
So I just had humans conquered the whole solar system in 6,000 years. Like, our population absolutely exploded. Obviously, we've already tampered with DNA. I don't know if people realize we could even de-extinct animals. We could do that today if we wanted to do, which is some creepy stuff.
Oh, yeah.
But we've got the DNA there, and we can very easily find, like, say, an elephant.
They made a shit ton of movies about why that's a bad fucking idea, though.
Yeah.
I'm just saying.
So in any case, we've created our own creatures and our own life form, and we've populated planets and stuff, terraforming and all that, so we can manipulate DNA how we choose 6,000 years. So eventually, with
all awash with necromantic power. No.
Yes. Yeah. and then tying into a bit of, like, biblical reference there, like, how in the Old Testament people lived to be 300 years old. Well, I kind of brought that back with, we figured out how to extend the living. So essentially, we don't die of old age. We die from, basically, our body just starts to rot and decompose and fall apart, which we enhance with machines and stuff, which is why a lot of my characters are half machine, half, because they're basically just trying to extend their lives.
Well, I mean, the whole post-humanist thing, like mind into machine.
Yep, exactly.
Oh, yeah. Yep.
And then throwing artificial intelligence in there. Like at some point, we will create artificial intelligence. And my fear with that, sorry. Yeah.
Go ahead.
My fear with that, as with everyone else's, is I've seen what happens when something with more, is more advanced and more capable comes along, it wipes out the previous. You know what I mean? Like us and Neanderthals, what happened when we came to North America? So I need an excuse for why human beings were still here after we'd had a war with the artificial intelligence. So all this stuff was cooking in my head for the past 15 years, and that's the concept of soul tag.
The jackalope was wiped out for a reason. Science should not bring that back.
Yeah.
Nope. That is correct. That is correct.
But yeah, so 15 years of churning that idea. I mean, I've got the next book. I could very easily lay out volume 2 right now. I know exactly what I have to do in all 88 pages to tell the next one. It's already all here, so it's all written. Just
damn, y'all hear that? So 92 pages is 92 interior pages for the first book, this first volume, and then 88 pages that he knows of in the second volume. I mean, there could be, stretch goals in the second volume. I mean, that's a lot of story coming your way, and if it's all going to look like this is going to be one epic masterpiece, dude.
Yeah. And even then,
I'm excited.
I had to limit what I did to, because there's fights I would have loved to stretched out, but I looked at the 88 pages of script as real estate, basically, right? Because I mean, it's intellectual property like any other property. Yep. So when you lay out that script, I got to 76 pages, and then you realize, okay, I've got another I got another 12 pages to play with. Then I could go back and, okay, this fight, I'm going to stretch it out for another page.
Sure.
This here, I'm going to stretch it out for, and then that's how I basically inserted the extra pages I had left over. But, I could have stretched this out much more if I wanted to. But I really wanted this first book. I'm one of those people that I don't want to leave anything left unfinished. So I just wanted this key piece. If this is only a one shot in a one book, I wanted this thing to maximize its punch capability.
Okay, so you're getting a full story in this volume. Yes. This whole thing, it's a complete story in and unto itself. But rest assured, there is more.
Yes. Yeah. And so you're not left hanging too much. It's good enough as a standalone if it needs to be.
All right, that's a good way to do it. If this is the only one that comes out, then at least it's a complete story unto itself, and people can dig it. They can read it. 100%. I mean, all the best stories have beginning, middles, and ends.
Right.
They know when to end.
Right.
And always the ending. Sticking the ending is often the most difficult part.
Oh, it's good for this. It's a very gritty and violent. Like I said, the main characters here. So a lot of time is spent, obviously, having people relate to the characters. But I mean, it's gritty, right? Life has very little meaning. I've spent time in the third world. I mean, I don't know how much we can appreciate how much better we have it here. But I've been in places in the world where life has no meaning, right? So these characters are gritty. They're violent. They have no problem taking lives. They have no problem doing what they need to make a buck.
It's a very cyberpunk aesthetic, high tech, low life. Yeah.
So you go through the whole journey of how each and every one of them's going through their life and the reason for why each one of them have come together. Then the overall conspiracy that's looming over them, that they've been being played basically like puppets. Someone's been manipulating them, and there's a conspiracy going on, and they realize that they almost killed each other over this. I don't want to give away too much. Obviously, they get very angry, and then they start coming back for blood, and you get all that in this first book. So.
Hell yeah. I mean, that sounds like an epic first volume. Yeah. And with absolutely gorgeous artwork. Now, who again is doing your artwork?
So Gonzalo Loyola, and again, we've had such a great friendship over the past 2 years. So
that's awesome, dude.
I spent a long time going through portfolios. A lot of artists that we know, and I had 300 portfolios cut down to 30, and then cut down to 10, and then 5. And Gonzalo was just always right at the top of the list. And I just kept seeing him on a Facebook. Indie creators for hire, people just looking for work. And just
looking for work. Awesome.
And
hungry.
And a couple people I approached when I said how big my book was, either they didn't believe me or what's what? Like say, hey, do you want to do an 88-page book? It's like, yeah, no, thank you. That's way too much work, right? So believe it or not,
Okay.
yeah, people want to do covers. A lot of people just want to do covers, right?
Well, yeah, I mean, because covers are more expensive, and it's just a single shot. You don't have to be a storyteller. I mean, you should be a storyteller. Each cover, no matter if it's a still shot or if it's a panel, because they're all still shots. But pinups should tell a fucking story. Your cover should tell a story. That's why these variant covers, and I know I'm going to go on a tangent here. I apologize, everybody.
No,
but
okay.
the covers I used to see on the wall had nothing to fucking do with the book inside. Not a goddamn thing. Stop that. The cover's supposed to tell a fucking story, even if it's not telling the same story as what's in the book. Your cover should still tell a story. Even if it's just Spider-Man swinging through. Why is he swinging through? You know, you got to think about this shit while you're composing it. Anyway.
But and
so
also
being able to tell a story is an important thing, especially with sequentials.
Yeah. Well, I was about to talk into that too. So I think a lot of the artists I talk to, they're worried because a lot of times I think they have writers and there's friction between what the writer wants and what they do. Like I can imagine the nightmare if you have an artist and a writer and they're clashing, and whoever's paying for it's like, no, I want that changed. No, I want that changed. These are things Gonzalo also told me that like driving him nuts, right? Like, no, I want that and that and that and that. It's like, I thought we discussed this all. So the one great thing about me as a writer is I do my layouts. If people don't know, I also draw on my layouts.
Right.
And that changed the whole game between me and Gonzalo, right? Crystal clear between the script and the layouts, what it is we're doing. And as soon as he saw that, it was brilliant. Like he couldn't thank me enough. Like me and Gonzalo just clicked, right? That right synergy. He became just excited about this book. We became excited about each other, like share the same views, share the same beliefs. You know, he finally met someone he could just unload all that baggage on, and I just, you know, laughing, having a good time with it. But yeah,
you found that design language, man.
Yeah, and just between me and him, he's put just as much work in this book as me. Like I'll put out. I was really bad for putting way too many panels. I was putting like 9 panels, 10 panels, and he just like, no, I can do this. No, this is insane.
Yeah.
This is what the page is going to look like, and I go, yeah, that's perfect. You got it. Right? And then away you go.
Nice. Yeah, so, see, it helps to translate. You know, you help bridge that visual gap by, you know, laying it out. It doesn't matter what it looks like. It gives the artist an idea. It gives them an idea of where you're at, and that's a Rosetta Stone. As long as you got that, you know, you can create the alchemy, man. The Art and Times of Jay Ryan says, "Who are you, Elon Musk? Don't ask artists to work hard, you monsters."
But I think that's the best thing a writer. If I could give a good piece of advice from being a writer and a creator myself, is if you have the capability of just doing something, even if it's stick figures, you know what I mean? In what your idea is, give that to your artist, because I think that's why they're so apprehensive to do sequentials. It's because they just don't want to deal with that nightmare. And I get it. Yeah. So.
I mean, also, listen, sequentials are not easy. Pinups are easy. I mean, easy as far as like, you know, as far as art goes, you know, it's all relative. But telling a story, telling a consistent story, and making it look the same from panel to panel to panel is hard. You know, it is not easy.
I mean, all this is hard. I mean, I'm guilty of, so basically I spent 2 years just burying my head in my book and doing my book and sort of forgetting about YouTube. But as you know, you can't do that in this community. And it's just the amount of energy that people put between streaming and creating a book at the same time. I'm like, where do people find the hours in the day? And definitely find that balance. But I see why these books now take so as long as they do, because a lot of time is spent streaming, a lot of time is spent networking, a lot of time is spent promoting, right?
I mean, it is much more accessible to do this than it is to go to conventions. Yes. It is much more cost effective to do this than it is to go to conventions. Mm-hmm. And I mean, you know, you can build your audience globally. This is one of the things I was talking about with Brian from Shattermare yesterday is, you know, if you can, you know, buy locally, you know, work locally if you can, you know, if you can find a collaborator close by. If not, you know, work wherever you can, but, you know, sell globally, you know, and we promote globally because, you know, we're all over the world, you know, worldwide personified, baby. you know?
Yeah, I mean, you can do everything now. I mean, you're your own promotion, your own stream, your own advertiser, you can do it all. Like, you don't have to be handcuffed to all these middlemen that are taking money out of your pocket.
Yeah, I mean, it's the old way of doing it. Now, you can still use those methods because they do still work, but the method that seems to be emerging is, you know, you build an audience, you let people know, you know, who you are, you put your book out there in this prestige format, and then if you want to, you know, divide it up into smaller, you know, single issues to get the crowd that doesn't do the crowdfunding thing, that doesn't care about having the prestige format, they just want to be able to go to the shop and pick up a book. Yeah. You know, there's still people out there that do that.
And watching,
you know, I know Brian Polito's been doing that, you know, since the beginning.
Yeah.
You know,
back in the day, I was a big Evil Ernie fan in Chaos Comics, going way back with him. So.
Like, I would love to like set up some kind of fucking crowdfunding thing, because my background is Lady Death. It is Stephen Hughes' Lady Death, and that is the Lady Death.
I was a Homicide Dead King fan, big time. Yeah.
But you know, I would love to like find a way to get all the Chaos Comics characters away from Dynamite, because they don't know what the fuck they're doing, and give them back to Brian, and they can become Coffin Comics characters, because the Coffin verse is fucking sick, you know.
But I'm definitely,
you know, pie in the sky.
I'm definitely noticing the way of the future. And with my artist, my one drawback, I'm not throwing Gonzalo on the bridge or anything, is I can't get him to do a show with me. I can't get him to come on streams. He doesn't just want to do that. Those powerhouse teams, like what Piper, Luke, I'm sorry, I don't know who the third one collaborating is, doing their artwork with them as well. But he worked with Nasser on another book as well. The names passed me. But same with Frog G, how you've got that collaborative team. I think that is the way of the future. You can't try to do this all yourself, right? So one big drawback is literally I'm doing it all myself. I'm paying for it. I'm creating it. I'm learning it. I'm hiring it. Then I'm scrambling for the TV shows, right? And definitely you get a bit of that. Dillard, yes.
Dillard, yep, Dillard, that's right.
So having a team where you have, you know, 2 or 3 other people, and they're all taking turns going on streams, they're all taking turns, you know, picking up part of that load, so you're not just carrying that entire load yourself. That would be my next, like, that's the way to make a book. And I don't know what I'm gonna do with Gonzalo, but I keep saying, like, you know, like I need help, you know what I mean? So yeah, we'll see.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, you get him to start. You know what? You start hosting shows like where he can come hang out. There's not, you know, a million people in the chat, and maybe you know, get him used to doing the whole streaming thing. You know. Yeah. Sometimes, you know, when it comes to the streaming thing, throwing people into the deep end, they kind of freeze up because, oh my God, there's a bunch of people watching. What do I do? You know, it can be terrifying, you know?
Yeah. Well, I do get intimidated by the big streams. Like these here, like when it's got 4 or 5 people, I'm comfortable. But I tell you, once I'm in a room with 8 other people, I'm like a deer in the headlights. I can't keep up with the conversation. And it's just like...
I mean, listen, when you're on a panel with, you know, 9 other people and... everybody's got something to say. I mean, you just got to learn to follow the rhythm of the conversation, and it doesn't hurt to be loud sometimes and having a good microphone. But I mean, if you go and grab that mic, have something to say, you know. I mean, even if it's, you know, even if it's a dumb joke and you end up looking dumb, you know, whatever. Shit happens. It's the internet. Remember, it's forever.
I mean, I've come along. Like 2 years ago, I had nothing. 2 years ago, I had 200 friends on Facebook. That's it.
Right.
You know, I didn't even have a Twitter. You know, so out of nowhere, that's a long way to go in 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, no, I'm digging it. I love it. I love the community. I love you know, just learning off everybody, and that's where I've learned all this is from the community. So studying, like, people think you're doing all these streams for no reason. No, there's people like me taking notes, watching and creeping and lurking.
Yeah, totally. I mean, and that's what you do. You learn from other people's mistakes. Frog G is correct. Jason and Ink are a great combo for making comics. And I mean, you know, you're right in there with them, man, helping, going on streams, promoting. I mean, and you, sir, obviously love this scene with a passion because you're constantly slinging links for everybody, man. I mean, look at this. Rift Riders, got the Frog G link here, and what we're talking about, Soul Tech. You rock, man. Appreciate that, man.
I'm just happy to be here for a closeout. Thank you.
Oh, you're most welcome, man. I very rarely get asked to do closeout streams. You know, I mean, I'm building my audience, and I appreciate everybody that subscribes. You know, but there are bigger promotion streams that to do closeouts on. So I appreciate it when I get asked.
It's just you're my first friend, so it's
talking over people is the way. See?
Yeah.
Hey, you're very welcome, man. You're very welcome. And Steve Dye is correct. You know, sometimes you have to. Other times, you know, you follow the rhythm of the conversation, and eventually you find like a break in the conversation.
Hopefully.
All depends on who you're on stream with.
Yeah. Yeah.
All
You've seen some of their train wrecks. It's just everyone's talking, screaming, and fighting for time. It's just that's it. Click. I go somewhere else. You know, you can only take that so much.
It is hard to build a channel, Jay Ryan. You are correct. I mean, it takes. You know, I wouldn't say it takes as much. I mean, it can. Depends on how much work you want to put into it. You know, video editing, posting videos up. I mean, live streams, you know, once you get used to doing them and you have a few things set up, live streams can be easier. I don't want to say that they're easy because technical difficulties make shit fun all the time. But yeah, it is not easy to build a channel like building a following. I mean, you when you do this, you actually have to engage with your audience, you know. I have noticed that, you know, the audience likes it when you bring up comments, you know. They like it when you engage with them, when you respond, you know. Yeah.
Well, it's the entire process. Like, I missed that with my book, right? Is that they weren't along for the whole journey. I kind of just did the journey by myself in secret, right? And absolutely, I mean, how many books do you feel? Good to see you, man. You feel you're a part of the book when you were there from day one and you're involved, and then it starts funding and the artwork's coming out and you've gotten the exclusives. Yeah, absolutely. You got to take advantage of that for sure.
Yep. Keep pushing that boulder up the hill, Jay Ryan. You'll get there, Sisyphus.
Yeah. No, I'm trying to achieve the snowball going down the other side of the hill now.
Well, that means you got to peak first.
Yeah,
I mean, do you really want to peak?
No, never.
Right? Yeah. It always seems like when shit peaks, everything else is you know, bad. Because once you peak, you start going down. You know? I mean, some of that shit right after the peak is like, okay. But then, you know, it starts picking up speed and it starts getting worse afterwards, apparently. So, yeah, I'd rather not peak, ever.
Yeah, just no breathing room.
Yeah. Exactly. I keep looking at the line work here, and I keep noticing different things that I didn't the first time. Like these two guys right here. Oh, it's not showing my mouse. There it is.
Yeah, the two flying feral ferrets is what I basically call them. So they're like a hybrid between like a flying squirrel and a ferret, is what they are, and then they're cybernetically enhanced as well. And that, so I always pictured them as like you know, Gladiator there with Gladius and his animal skins. So basically, they just kind of hang around, like just crawling around on them, and then all of a sudden, when it's time to start shooting, they just lunge.
Oh, so they just kind of hang out on them, and then they go and attack. All right.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, casual attack wear. I like it.
Yeah. And they crack jokes and they talk too. So.
Oh shit! Okay.
Keep them company. Yeah.
With a personality.
Yeah, they're very mischievous. Yeah.
All right, so you guys can get the featured tier, which, I mean, why wouldn't you? But and $45 is a great is great for both of those books and the ash can. But if you just want the color one, $25 for the volume 1 with the ash can, which is fucking cool. I mean, $25 for 92 pages. That's fucking great, dude.
Yeah, I mean, I've been getting grief for shipping, but like, do people realize like how thick of a book you're getting? You know, so plus a free ash can. Most people charge $10 for that, right? So.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's all been sorted out with my printer too. Like I say, I'm in touch with my printer, so it's just a matter of getting that template and putting it together. The costs have all been figured out, so it's happening.
Well, there you go. So I mean, just waiting for the final orders.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
But yeah, I've printed enough copies that, you know, I'll be selling this thing for a while, trying to recover the money to make the next one.
Right. Well, I mean, you know, that's now you have something. And again, when you go into the next campaign, you've got something to show that, you know, you fulfilled this. It is here. It exists in the real world.
Yes.
I have it in my hands. This isn't CGI. This isn't bullshit. You know.
It's just incredible if I'll be here. Like, this is like literally like at 14 I wrote a bucket list. I don't want to get too like whatever. I'm a nerd, right? But I mean, I wrote everything from like losing my virginity.
We're nerds in a comic shop, man. You know, I told you backstage. This is what I tell everybody.
Yeah.
My shows are nerds hanging out in a comic shop.
But it was all there. Lose my virginity, have a girlfriend, you know, graduate high school, fucking have my first apartment, get my driver's license, get a car. Like, I planned it all out, right? Join the military, go into war, get a pension, have a family, retire. Write my science fiction. It was all, you know what I mean? Here I am.
I mean, you added new things to that list, right? After hang on. After you finish this, you're not just going to keel over because you finished the bucket list.
I still want to go to Japan and Easter Island and see the pyramids. So no, there's a few.
Okay.
I haven't done, but I mean, the amount that once you commit your life and you plan it like that, and you start living your life to making the things you want to do in your life happen, you'd be surprised how quickly they actually happen for you.
I mean, what were we just talking about? You know, the time flies. You know.
Yeah. You got to make use of it.
Or time passes, and begrudgingly, maybe for Steve Dye. Time passes very slowly with a sludge-like appearance.
I started the story in 2005, and then I got through the first chapter, and then I just put it in a collected dust for 2005. Where are we at now? 2020, 15 years. But mind you, I was doing tours in Afghanistan.
We're 2022, so that's 17 years, bub.
Yeah. Well, I started working on it 2 years ago.
Right. Okay. Gotcha. Yes.
But like, and literally, you just forget about it, and then, you know what I mean? A decade goes by.
Yeah. So. Time has a way of slipping past us, especially when we're not paying attention.
So thank God for that bucket list I wrote, because I've got enough of a scatterbrain as it is.
Hell yeah.
Did I tell you I just got back from a convention this weekend? But I got to hang out.
You posted something on Twitter about it, actually.
Yeah, I got to hang out with Sam De La Rosa. I was actually drove him a couple places. How crazy is that? Like,
oh yeah,
no,
that's cool.
No big deal. Sam De La Rosa's in the passenger seat of my car. Where would you like to go now? You know. Yeah, it's very cool. I got
awesome.
I got that venomized.
Oh yeah, lethal protector. Heck yeah, man. Yeah. Is it? Does it have a barcode on it?
No, that's got the
Spider-Man face.
His hand over his face there.
Nice, the direct edition.
Yeah.
Yep. Jay Ryan says time waits for no man except for Steve. Apparently, it goes by real slowly just to aggravate him. See, I love this, man. I love the fact that you have a retailer tier. I wish that some retailers were actually jumping in on it. It's an interesting thing trying to get retailers to jump in on the first waves of these.
I don't think the price point's at the right place on this. I think I either should have nobody's bought it, so it's not like I should have either dropped out another 20 or threw another book in there. Hindsight being what it is, maybe that might have been a bit more enticing, but I would have done.
I mean, when doing everything aggravates me. I can understand that. Gift of time and age, I suppose. I mean, I find quite a few things aggravate me, but drink.
Well, we're all around the same age, so.
Right. Well, I mean, we're all 40-year-old white guys in this scene, right? I mean, that's really what they always say, right? Or the chicks are always they're 14-year-olds apparently pretending or something like that. I don't know. Weird fucking allegations over here. But the profit margins for comics have always been razor thin. Like they're it's always hard to predict what's it's guesswork. You got to figure out what's going to sell in the shop. And so trying to predict, like, well, are people going to pick this up? Again, it's all about promotion. That's why it's crucial for people to go into their shops and say, hey, I want this book. And that's why promoting to your audience, people that pay attention to your artwork, and saying, hey, I've got this thing in previews, this issue of previews. Go, ask your local comic shop to pick it up. I mean, so this is instead of being direct to consumer and just printing your book and selling it to your consumer, you're kind of going through this little thing and you're using a poll to, operate this lever that will then, I don't know, it's a roundabout way to sell the book, but people love going to the comic shop, and there's a certain audience, certain market that will only go to comic shop. People that have been ordering for previews for fucking 30 years, they don't know any different. Not going to change.
Even think of like the big events like Infinity Gauntlet. Like, how long was that poster up on the wall, and you just stared at that and you looked at that and you saw that image until the book finally came out? It must have been months, like 3 months, I think that was up for.
Oh yeah.
Death of Superman. I think they dragged that a little bit, although it wasn't. That one turned a little bit negative. What do you mean you're killing Superman? But yeah, definitely that ties into the mailing list again, right? Just seeing it, and the idea is there, and the seeds planted in your head, and you're waiting, and that anticipation builds.
Exactly, building the hype. Planting that seed, and then it gets fed. Have that little spark of interest, and then you feed it. You start building it up.
But don't
keep
wait
working
too long.
on it, and people love to see the work in progress. People love to see things develop. Yep.
But I think we've got a good measure now where it's kind of good to get like a year's worth of the work out of the way before you start this. But I think that's a pretty good point, right? Get about half of it done, and then put it all together and start doing it. Because 2 years is exhausting time to wait, right? I think a year is just nice, right? You do the mailing list as long as you can, and then people just have to watch that little, just less than a year, and then you're promoting and churning and churning and churning and churning, and then bam, out comes the book, right? So.
Yeah, and there is something to be said about people seeing the book get completed. People like to feel involved. I mean, what were we just saying about the chat? The chat loves to be interacted with. Yeah. Jay Ryan says, wait, am I a 14-year-old girl? So much is starting to make sense. Well, I'm glad we could help you discover that here. We're new information being revealed all the time. This is what we do over here. Yeah. But part of the crowdfunding thing is getting the audience involved. They enjoy being a part of the creation process. They enjoy seeing it put together little bit by little bit, new pieces of artwork, new updates, it helps build the anticipation even more, even after they've backed.
Yeah. Absolutely.
Because I mean, it's obvious and it's been said before, but I mean, without the audience here, we wouldn't be able to do this. We wouldn't have anybody reading these books, and that's what the majority of the mainstream books do. They have a flashy cover, but nobody's actually reading the books. They don't give a shit about the story inside. It's all about the 1 in 25 cover, the 1 in 10 cover, the art germ cover, the this cover, the that cover.
Even just
any reason except for what's actually in the book.
Even with indies, there's so many books out there that don't even break 1,000, which is like I lose sleepovers, and my absolute nightmare is like, please let me break at least 1,000. But so many of them don't even do that, just because there's no network, there's no hype, there's no notice. It's literally just people stumbling on this book on Kickstarter, Indiegogo, because that's literally the only way you're hearing about it. So
I don't think we're talking about Indiegogo or Kickstarter, but yeah. Again, the promotion of it is important. I mean, you can put together the most awesome book in the world, but if nobody knows about it, you are screaming into the void. Have fun. Who are you talking to? You talking to yourself? Yeah. Somebody might hear, you might hear your echo thinking you're talking to somebody, but I mean, you gotta build your audience. You gotta go out and connect to people. I know, as weird as that might sound, as strange as it may be, you got to talk to people. You know, you got to interact with them.
Tying back into your LCS, what you're saying about local comic shops, the days of everybody flooding the local comic shop and being what's new on the racks. Yeah, that's not the model, and that's what you were saying about, you know, a book with the flashy cover, and you would go in there, what is this? What is this? What is this?
And see, they didn't need a bunch of variant covers. I mean, they did variant covers. Let's not gloss over that.
Yeah, I've got plenty of them.
But they didn't do them to the extent that they fucking do them now. You know, they had stories. I mean, back in the golden age, not the golden age, but like back in the time when, you know, John Byrne was doing X-Men and Walt Simonson was doing X-Factor, and, you know, that whole time period when there were these creative individuals that actually cared about what they were doing, the story they were crafting, and the entertainment they were providing for the audience. You know, they were draftsmen, they were creative, and it seems to have fallen apart. There's no care for story. There's no craft for story anymore. They don't care. They're just there to crank something out because it's part of this, I don't know, this brand, this known brand. You know,
I think
very little of it is crafted with any care for the characters that have come before. You know,
I think that ties to having a love for what you're doing as opposed to it's just a job for a paycheck, right? Like, that's a great thing about indie is like it's your own IP. You hopefully you should love your IP and love everything that you're doing.
Excited
and you're doing
about
it to a perfection, as opposed to I've just got a job, you know, it's working for someone that's given me a name and a paycheck, and I really could care less if I keep working on this book or not. Yeah.
I mean, I don't know if you're gonna work on anything, maybe do it to the best of your ability. But I mean, if you're not passionate about actually making comics and like telling good stories while making comics, why the fuck are you even here?
Yeah.
Like, what are you even doing?
Yeah, it's true.
You know,
Absolutely.
go do something else.
Because there's no money to, like, yeah, this isn't the place to go to make money, that's for sure, right? There's other things you can do if you just wanted to make money.
Right? I mean, there's damn it, somebody told me a story and I'm gonna fuck it up. I can't remember. There was a Playboy cartoonist that wanted to do wanted to work for Marvel, you know, ended up meeting Stan Lee and wanted to do a story for them. And, you know, Stan Lee's like, all right, well, you can do this fill-in thing. And he kind of gave him an outline, or, you know, the Marvel method. He wrote the series. And dude worked on it, I guess, for a little bit. And then Stan Lee went to him a few months later. And it was the dude that wrote The Godfather. That's right. So he was going to do a Fantastic Four story, apparently. And Stan Lee hit him up. He's like, where's that Fantastic Four story? And he's like, you know what? I tried, and I tried, and I tried, and I couldn't do it. It was too fucking hard. I'm going to go do something easy, like write a novel. And he went and wrote The fucking Godfather. So making comics is not easy. Not like, if you want to make them any good, anyway. You know, if you make shit comics, then, I mean, you just crap anything out. You know?
Like writing, like I tried this as a novel. Problem is, I'm a big run-on sentence. I mean, you've seen my DMs, right? Like, yeah, I'll write a freaking wall. Like, next thing you know, I'm like, oh my god, this person's gonna think I'm a freaking lunatic. I'm like, yeah, because I'll just and I don't even, you know.
Or, you know, possibly on speed. I mean, whatever, you know.
So if I was making novels, these things would be like, you know, like, who's gonna read that? So thank God I had comics instead.
I've seen some epic, you know, sentences in my time reading. That's for sure. You know, and technically not a run-on sentence, but come on now. You know, you're doing this on purpose just to see how long you can make this sentence, aren't you? At least that's what I feel like when I see one of those. I don't know.
But even the process with this, a lot of this between me and the editor and the letterer is the fact is your bubble is only so big, or else you're going to have panels that are just text panels, right? So a lot of too big, too many words, too big, trim it down, which just
well, I mean, you know, you can't override your artwork. You know, you got to, you know, you got to be efficient with your words. Yes. Otherwise, you're going to end up, you know, overriding your artwork. Mm-hmm. And I mean, when you've got a good-looking book, you don't want to do that.
Yes.
So look at this. That is just fucking badass, dude. I love it.
Yeah.
And this opening sequence that you've got, you know, this is a great way to set up the universe. You know, man, look at that.
I mean, I'm a movie junkie. Like I've seen like any movie pretty much up until the 2000s. I've seen it. Just that's all I used to do is watch 2 or 3 movies a day. Right? Blockbuster was my friend.
Nice.
Yeah.
I used to go to Blockbuster and rent a bunch of video games. You know? Yeah. And then they would sell like the video games, so that's why I have more PS3 video games than I do any other system. Because they were constantly selling them, and it's just like, really, this game was like $50 a couple of weeks ago, and now it's only 30. Okay, 25. Yeah, dude, this book looks great, and I love the hardcore sci-fi bend of it. You know, a little bit of cyberpunk, but I mean, you know,
you best start believing in cyberpunk dystopias. You're in one.
Yeah, it's true.
I mean, not to put too fine a head on it, but yeah. You remember when sci-fi was like all hopeful and whatnot back in like the 40s and 50s and like I guess the 30s as well. But
1984 was never something that was going to happen. This is like worst case scenario, and lo and behold, here we are.
It was a warning, not a blueprint. Fuck.
What happened?
Yeah. But yeah, this book looks great, man. I can't wait to see everybody getting it in their hands and getting a chance to read the story. You know, I know you've shared a few things with me. The mostly the Ink and Blood version. Yeah, you showed me the pages from that, and that's my favorite version. But both versions, guys, you should just go ahead and grab both, along with the Ashcan. You know, that's a great deal for both of those. Plus, you know, all the stretch goals. Is there anything else you want to say about Soul Tech before we wrap this up, man?
Nothing other than it's just been a great journey, and just I'm so grateful and appreciative for everyone. I can't wait for when this thing finally closes out, so I can send out that nice big thank you to all the shows that I went on. But like I don't even want to leave everyone out. But right there, from starting with Shay and Cy, who launched me, Jeremy had me on, D-Wag was pushing me out. And then, oh man, I went on 80s Made a drunken fool of myself last time I was on 80s Made. Actually, I haven't gotten drunk since I went on his show. Oh man, like, you know what I mean? Trying to think of everybody who's had me on their show or who's offered their time. Michael Bancroft, obviously, twice. First talked about my book and then invited me on. Phil Diaz invited me on. I'm still going on Arvid. We kind of got our wires crossed there, and I missed my opportunity during the campaign. But I think I'm going on his at the end of the week.
Awesome. Yes.
Well. Yeah. I'm getting on Hex.
Great,
also
man.
Love Wise Guys. Just like, you know, just the community is just so amazing. You know, everybody doing what they can and offering you an opportunity just to show what you've done. And I can't thank everyone enough. It's just been an amazing journey, and I can't wait for people to read this book. I want to be there for people's unboxings. I'm even going to put that out there. If people want to do an unboxing, I'll sit there and listen to what they have to say. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just can't wait for people to open this and read it and see what they finally gotten for sure.
Well, yeah, man. I mean, I'll have to have you on for what's in the box, dude.
Yeah, that'd be fantastic.
Frog G says Michael T covered your book on his show, Monday Morning Marathon. Yep.
Nice.
They always cover some great campaigns. They do a good show over there.
Awesome.
Yeah, man. Well, chat, I appreciate you guys being here. Without you guys, we couldn't do this. We couldn't. We wouldn't have anybody reading these awesome books that are being created. Wouldn't have anybody hanging out in the audience. So you guys fucking rock. Never forget that. And always remember.
Shop smart, shop S-Mart.